glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. There in Switzerland, a town called Blatten has been flattened. For decades, geologists have been watching the side of the mountain as it slowly moves. The rock in that area has been unstable for years and has been monitored. The massive rock face is divided up into different layers of rock and ice made up of quartz, feldspar, and mica schist, which is a coarse grain type of rock. This rock deteriorates over time due to weathering and fractures. The glaciers melt, the water melts, the snow melts, get into the cracks of the rock, and it becomes very, very brittle. Somewhere around 3 million cubic meters of water rushed down in a few minutes, and the rock engulfing the town or the village of Blatten, which was fortunately evacuated. The Blatten landslide is a recent event that resembled a series of historical incidents there in Switzerland. A notable landslide occurred in Golda in 1806, where Roseberg Mountain collapsed, destroying the town of Golda and several other towns. Although residents were evacuated last week, one 64-year-old man is missing. A large section of Glacier Birch broke off around 3:30 p.m. local time Wednesday. The glacier collapse caused an earthquake that measured 3.1 on the Richter scale. The village of Blatten, there in Switzerland, was 90% covered by landslide, with one person is still missing. They're looking for him, and locals evidently say they plan to rebuild. There's another section that they are watching, that the section that collapsed was holding up above it, and now they're saying that that section is also threatening to collapse. The trail of debris, which officials said stretched for more than 1 mile, blocked the river that flows through the village, flooding a few surviving structures. The mayor of the town described the destruction as extreme. He is appealing for help to rebuild the village, which was evacuated days before after a warning from geologists came. Watching the videos of the cows being airlifted out is amazing. Makes me realize why aliens seem to like to abduct the cows, because they were not fazed whatsoever with being airlifted by helicopters. Authorities suspect the collapse was caused by a high-altitude snowmelt, but its precise triggering is unclear. Police have been deployed to the area using thermal drone and sent rescue workers looking for the man that is missing. The debris from the collapse has triggered a dangerous flood. Today, officials are saying that the accumulation of material in the valley has blocked the Lötschenta River, which flows through the village. So a lake formed, and that flooded Blatten's remaining buildings. Officials have increased the capacity of a downstream dam and evacuated nearby villages in case the water overflows. Now, according to a geologist who works for the Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, the glacier was crushed and pushed down under the growing weight of overlying rocks. The rock slope above the glacier started to crack above and fall down, explaining that the rocks fell on top of the glacier over the past 2 weeks and eventually caused the glacier to give away. Think of a giant pile of rocks on top of a tiny glacier, the geologist said. The chain of events that triggered the glacier to dislodge when it did is not yet clear. However, whether it was simply the glacier collapsing under the weight of the overlying material or added weight being put on top of it may be more of the real cause of the collapse. The glacier's collapse was so explosive that it registered as a magnitude 3.1 earthquake on Switzerland's scale, according to the country's seismological service. In a statement, the agency said the massive movement was one of the largest ever recorded in the country. As of right now, experts do not agree about the reasoning for the collapse. One geologist at the University of Lausanne told Switzerland national broadcaster that the glacier had previously been supported by a high rock face encased in permafrost, which had degraded over the past 10 to 15 years, putting pressure on the glacier. He said climate change probably played some role in the collapse, but for now they don't know for certain. Blatten's mayor, Baptiste Belwald, said the unimaginable has happened, but promises the village still has a future. The village's 300 inhabitants were told that they had to leave their own homes on May 19th, after geologists monitoring the area warned that the glacier appeared unstable. The Swiss government has already promised funding to make sure residents can stay, if not in the village itself, but at least in the local area. Geologists monitoring that area have warned for years that some Alpine towns and villages could be at risk, and Blatten was not even the first to be evacuated. In eastern Switzerland, residents of the village of Brienz were evacuated 2 years ago because the mountainside above them was crumbling. Since then, they have only been permitted to return for short periods. So with the other section that is above it being unstable, I wonder how long until the government allows the people to return and rebuild. So what are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you all. Bye.